Who can tell me, like, quickly, where we ended last week? Yes. Sorry? Possessive case. Possessive case. And we finished the section, right? Okay, so we're to start with cognitive tenses, right? Is that right? Are you on the same page? So, alright. Let's do it. So, cognitive tenses. I think with this, I think you said it. You realize that the latter part of the thing that we are doing, most of the time, I think you talk about it sometime around. So, most of these things are more like vision, apart from the mixed up, the one I gave to you as mentioned. Most of them are something that don't new to you. So, but still, let's look at it more like for revision purposes. Alright, let's continue. So, possessive cognitive tenses. So, we've earlier established that in every sentence it must agree. In tenses, the subject must agree with the object, and everything within it must agree. Is that not it? So, last week we did talk about agreement in number. That it must also agree in number and in all that. And even in style, we say that is that not it? So the same thing, if you have cognitive sentence, it's more like it works exactly like that of passing. Your ability to dissect everything and make sure that putting them together they make work. More like a collective sense or unique sense. This is the reality. So we are saying that a tense of any verb must coordinate logically with that of any other verb in the sentence, as well as the developmental pattern of the passage as a whole. Very important. So I've said this to you, when it comes to the SAT, no particular word is by mistake. Every word that you say is strategically placed. So don't assume this word doesn't really make sense, or maybe this one was just no. And it's the more reason why I also introduce you to essential and non-essential modifiers. The only time these things are introduced is to probably also come to play a role, probably to confuse and divert you a little. But now you guys are aware of all these things, so I assume you have the ability, with the help of trimming, to take out the chaff and bring out the main idea. So everything that is used has a purpose. Very important. And that is what cognition does. So once again, we are always going to go by the study that we do. Stand for the first, but everybody will do by the time you finish the class. So that's it. You read the example in the box, then you use that to throw more light on cognition. Read the audio, Frances. Okay. So the underlying phrase is what has been the first who implemented. Now, what do you think is the right answer? Anyone to help us? What do you think is the right answer? Yes. Okay, he feels it's D. Is there anyone who agrees? Okay. Is there anyone who disagrees with D or who feel otherwise or think otherwise? Yes. You think other than D, something else should be the answer? You also feel D. You think it's as in boy. B for boy. Okay, let's see what is at B. It's the first to have implemented. So, like I said last week, the way to agree on an answer, try to take it to that place, okay, and read the whole thing to see if indeed it has satisfied all the intent of coordinating, whether it is for agreement, everything, whether it has satisfied that. So let's take it back in there and see whether everything is on point. B, right? So let's see. Although Frances Fagin was not the first government official to advocate for workplace safety, she is the first to have implemented substantial labor reform through legislation such as the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1980. Now, in answering this, like I always do, and always trying to emphasize the interconnected aspect maintain something that still has relevance in the current statement if it has some importance attached to it. Other than that, we can consider it as what a non-essential one. Is that okay? Now, does this feel more like a historic something that should be taken as a past or a present thing? Jocelyn, I'm doing this with you. I'm trying to resolve that with you. You talked about me, right? Are you baptized now? You are cleansed. So, there's no need for me to continue. Are you ready to still continue? This is it. So, like I said even last week, these things also always bring forward that in as much as you must work within time, you must also be careful to pay attention. Other than that, it's not that you don't know, you know the thing, but just some slight oversight will make you lose a mark. And when it comes to the SAT, every mark, I keep on saying, is very important. Sometimes it could be just one mark or cut you off entering into an IB. And it will bring you back to 10 years. It's IB here. When it comes to Ghana or in West Africa or in South Africa, it's IB. And sometimes the others too, before the people, they still don't know that. Sometimes that one too is there. Okay. Yeah, that one too is there. You added it. So, like I was saying, sometimes in a month, definitely. So please, you don't need your mind for anything. Make sure you grab everything. So you realize that yes, if you are given a second job, maybe you need to have basically selected what the B, right? So what do you now believe in? Is it because you've read what is beneath, or because you've seen the agreement of forgetting tenses and now you decide to apply it? You start forgetting, having like clearly let it go on it, original example. Okay. So normally I always want to break you, especially when it comes to those the in-text examples. I don't normally want you to be going to read this before you say you understand. I want you to challenge yourself first, okay? Just like the math material that has been given to you. I said, though I don't teach math, but I told you, never be in a hurry to go to check the solution. Challenge yourself to do the justice work. Those that you couldn't, then you will want to refer to the solution. That is the best way to do it. Alright. So she's okay now. So you realize that from it, you realize that it's more what? Something that is historical, more like something that had to be given what? A past something, because the whole thing happened in the past tense. So although Frances, so let's use the P in and see how it feels. Although Frances Perkins was not the first government official to advocate for workplace safety, she was the first to implement substantial labor reform through legislation such as the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938. You realize that it makes better sense now. Okay. But if you say there is the first to have, that means unless you have a reason to believe that even as at now, you still hold that that is it. She has the absolute say when it comes to that. But maybe there are other theories around it, or maybe there are even some other people who killed earlier. But once you attribute it to past in that, we know that that is what was done. You are probably not thinking and attributing it to it. I'll throw more light on this when we are handling the historical and the timeless facts. Okay? Alright. So let's move on. I think let's look at the next one quickly. When married, yes, the next person. Okay. She has been the first woman to win the prize. Yes. Once again, what do you think is the answer? Question. So what's the answer? What do you think? Okay. She feels the C. Is there anyone who objects? Anyone objecting? So you did the hour because it came handy. was teaching another student. I think for her, she's at a reading session. So we were going through some of the exercises, and the moment I say it, like, she would just mention that, she would just get it. I was like, how did it? It's coming handy. I don't know why. So that's a good thing. Normally, if you'll be reading good books and you'll be investing in the strategies and all that, you realize that it gets your time. You don't even have to bother yourself to think too much on when you learn it. Over the time, you realize your mind is refined. So you get it without even knowing what you fit of, then you apply. Right? You automatically see what is not right. Alright. So that is it. So let's look at historical versus timeless fact. Historical versus timeless fact. So what are you trying to say with historical and timeless? You are saying that there are certain things, there are certain statements that doesn't have expiry. Okay? There are certain statements that doesn't have expiry. If you say God was the same yesterday, is today, is the same today, and forever, it doesn't expire. You can't say God was the creator of the universe. Do you get it? Because every day, even when a new tree, you cut one and come, you say that it's a new creation. So we assume or we say that anytime there's a regeneration, that's what is it a creation, right? So it's timeless. It existed then, it's existing, and it will exist. That kind of thing. So like you have to draw that kind of clear-cut distinction between the two. Things that are attributed solely to historical things and things that are purely timeless. Let's look at the example that we see and see.
The ancient Greek philosophers thought that change is an.
Alright. The ancient Greek, like he mentioned. So what do you think is that? Okay, he thinks it's A. Is there any other person who objects? Anyone who objects? Alright, so you all agree? Okay. But let me also introduce a very interesting bit of it to you. So when you read it carefully, you realize that there's a bit of a place that we attribute to historical, and there's a bit of it that's attributed to timeless, usage. Where we use the thoughts, right? That was historical. So I said, when it is historical, we attribute what? Past tense to it. If it is historical, we say what? Past. Right? If it is timeless, it's what? Present. And you see a bit of this demonstrated in that. You see it. The bit about the thoughts, that was his thinking then. Historical. Change is an illusion. Is. So the underlying word is what is, right? You could have used change was. So now, the only instance, like I was trying to explain what that objection, the only instance you may want to say it is was instead of is when you believe that change is no more illusion. Do you get it? Unless you have a reason to believe that now, as of now, change is no more an illusion. Okay? So that is it. So when you go through it, you realize that indeed A is what the best alternative. So if there had been an alternative that was more like this. He thought that change is an illusion. So unless you have a reason, like I said, unless you have a reason to believe that today it is not change is not an illusion, then you probably say was. So attribute that teaching again as what? Something else. I was trying to see a very controversial option that would have worried us if they had brought that. Teachings that change is an illusion, teachings that change, thought that change. As if there had been another option, let's say the D was the ancient Greek philosopher Zenon thought that change was an illusion. So the underlying would have been thought that change was an illusion. If they had brought an option like that, obviously it would have been debated. That is basically what I'm trying to establish. So they know. I've told you before that there's been a group of them who have sued them before. PTS has been sued a number of times. Because like I said, this is not like a one where you go to learn everything in, let's say, gas and you go and then the examiners have only selected matter, only matter, and set the entire exam for matter. So if you didn't look at matter, then you learn other things, you can fail. So that examination prevents the school syndrome. It works in that classes. And here it doesn't work. Please, if you prepare, you get it. That's why I said that even through your practice test, you can even predict what you should get before you get there. And normally, maybe it will be some 0.1 plus 1 difference. But the strategies are the same. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. And that is it. It works like that. You get it. So, for instances like that, which are debatable, because anyone who selected A and I think the D was that, anyone who also selected D also makes sense. You get it. But though the fact is clear, though in this sense the A would have still been the best alternative, but questions for an option that will make them vulnerable, that are being debatable, they avoid it. So it is clear, and historically we actually have to, because it is timeless, it is present, because it is still in your practice, so there's no way to make it a pass unless you have a reason to say it. Alright, let's look at currency and art, currency of art and ideas. Currency of art and ideas. The next, can you read what is writing in there, and then after you can continue with. Okay, but before that, let me just say something about it before you just read that and then we continue with it. Now, they are saying that there are certain facts. Okay, there are certain facts about some available literature that has some monetary attachment. Okay, it has some monetary value into it. And if it's relevant, it's relevant, then it's still relevant today. Sometimes even some of this old cultural stuff like objects and those things, they're even more expensive now than when you were created. Do you get it? So when you have situations like that, they also fall within what our present situation. When it is still relevant, basically that is what we are trying to say. So it has something to do with what the timeless idea. So kindly just read that one I just read this and then concentrate on the question in the box and then discuss it.
Five about the content of currency and alignment of art and literature. And therefore take the then at five of the Cordelia and Leah were captured by Edmund, who had promised to show them mercy.
Okay. So what is the answer? He feels it's the another person who objects or who feels that. So is it clear? So now we place the D where it is and really let's see if it agrees in everything.
In the five of King Leah, Cordelia and Leah are captured by Edmund, who has promised to show them mercy.
You see it? So it is still relevant today. It is still relevant today. As such, they take the present tense. What is it? Okay, you think it's A? Okay, let's read it together. In Act V of King Lear, Cordelia and Leah were captured by Edmund, who had promised to show them no mercy. Were captured by Edmund, who had promised to show them no mercy. Were captured by Edmund, who had promised. Let's listen to it carefully. In Acts of V of King Lear, Cordelia and Leah were captured by Edmund, who had promised to show them no mercy. Now let me replace with let's read it. In Acts V of King Lear, Cordelia and Leah are captured by Edmund, who has promised to show them no mercy. And what did he say? He said that facts about the content of currently available works of art or literature have carries and therefore take the present tense. Currently available works of art or literature. Currently available works of art or literature. When things, normally, they also, the literature students amongst us realize that like Shakespeare and those things, those who do those stuff, literature stuff, realize that, so the key thing is, they are available, they are readily accessible to them, and it's news. Okay? So it's more like it's the present form rather. Okay? Rather than making it look like something that has exhausted its relevance. Do you get it? So that is why it is so clear that if the content of the current app is available, okay, it's available, then it has currency. If you want to take it in the layman's idea, you see that there is still, now I'm sure even some of these they still pay royalties to the families of the actual related. Do you get it? Just like when we discover, what do you call it? Maybe something precious in your land, apart from the fact that, let's just put the fact that everything belongs together. I think it is yours and it was your family that knows it. Even at a point, the government still pays some royalties. Just like we still even pay royalties to even kings. Area that we mine, we pay royalties to them. But they are still relevant, even though it's not theirs. Do you get it? So it's the same thing that this is playing. Okay? You want to say something more?
Let's take the enhancements.
Which one?
The enhancements as a new chapter. And
Alright, you said we should take the as a book chapter.
yeah, and I think that if the book still exists, the benefits the thing.
If the book still exists.
Like the reading book still exists, something like that. We make that whole sentence.
Okay. Okay, let me clarify this. It's not necessarily about it being exists, but it's still, it exists and its relevance is still holding into it. Okay, we still apply the things in the giving additional scenario. So let me take this. Let me just take this small writer and explain it more with that. It says King Lear is a widely available work of literature. Its action is conventionally described in the present tense. And of course, we said that only choice D places both verbs correctly in the present tense. Now, it may be difficult for you and I to appreciate it because we are not so versed in literature. But I'm sure our literature students among us see it and they get it. However, I said this earlier that this exams is no respecter of any specialty. Everybody is always apart. That is the reason why maybe someone who is a literature student wouldn't probably need this key fact or this strategy to know that when it comes to things like this, it should be taken as present. Do you get it? That's why we are all being taught that when you see this way, it should what connote something present. Because it's still available and accessible. Do you get it? So when you know it that way, then it guides you. So that you don't necessarily need to be an specialty that told you that you need. That particular literature is still widely available and accessible. Do you get it? Yeah. Just to clear that kind of contention. Your lips thought that you want to see me. Yeah, okay. Alright. So any other question? Alright. If there are no questions, let's look at verb aspects. Verb aspects. Now, this I attribute this to point of view. Okay? The angle that you are seeing something determines how you perceive it. It's more like this popular thing. That is going and you see the same thing like this. And there's someone standing here. There's someone standing here. And this person is saying, okay, let me just clean one of them. Let me clean one. So this person says, this person sees 9. Okay? And there's nothing you can say. The person's eyes. Because I'm going to be drawing. Biology. Very good. Look at someone. Where I like to add comical stuff in my notes. I told you some time back that when there is someone just looking at it, it says, I don't know. Other than that, I would have come to show it to you. I used to write some artistic stuff to my note like this. Often it makes me remember that I've been in examination and those are the difficult angles. If you just put your eyes to the book, you'll be like you are weak. Alright, so this is it. So this person sees this at 9 and this one sees this at 6. It will be very difficult for this to convince that. The same way, if this one sees this at 6 and you think you see that otherwise, it's also very difficult for you to convince this. That's what I always say. When things are nominative, more like opinion, your own point of view, don't argue with people and point of view. Rather you hear news and then someone was stabbed because of argument. While the person sees 6 and you see that you're not correct now. I posted something and then someone commented, started. You said that the person is heated. Oh no, but this is not right. This is an entire lie happened. Yes, you are right. Then later on, about 2 hours later, I said, you do why? But how can you just accept it? I said, but you are right. So ideally, human nature, yes, let me say, no, then we agree. I won't agree because I know that when it has to be an opinion, I will not have to agree with you. If it was fact, then different things. You get it? So we don't argue about people's romantic statements. Don't go out there and tell a Muslim that by God you feel God and God is this, so he must seek it from your people. Yeah, you're wasting your time, my brother. He also tell you how you should also perceive Allah. And trust me, you argue for the rest of the day and you never agree. So if you want to try, normally the working strategy is if you want to try to let someone see your 9, let this person see your 9 as it is. It takes steps. Don't try to argue and win your idea. Don't put me at the back of the thing instead of arguing. That's why you give a debate topic, and then however angle you take it, you are right. You're only looking at how you able to argue with our platform. So if I give you a debate topic that if you care, it's good to care, and you're able to debate it and defend it, you are right. I wouldn't say, I'm going to defend it, I'll give you. That's what I'm looking at. You get that argument. So please, that's opinion. And the same thing that has to do with verb aspects. Now, let's look at the first one. You are saying that the aspects of a verb indicates how its action or status apply to the subject or situation. Aspects. Those who are good in read it, break a big answer in those aspect ratio. How you see things. You see the angle you are seeing it for. It's the same thing. So for instance, here, why? You are very good at it. You are right. Yeah. You are not what
Legend. Living legend.
what is it? So I told you I thought about that. You didn't believe me. Oh, I thought all the things I did and go. That's what I used to do. I had some school days. I said this before. Yeah, I used to go there a month or 2 weeks to the RPC. I teach all the subjects and I assess, and then some of them will become teachers. I told them sometimes with the mother, tell them to set up for whatever program they do. So I still have, I check. So sometimes I forget my name. It's getting a bit stressful. Even now, I teach most of the reading courses. Okay, let's continue. So that is the aspect for you. So we are just going to look at these. We are going to look at them, and then we are going to zone in on one major angle, and that is consequential. We are going to correct some common thing that you not really be paying attention to sometimes, and then zone it out. So you are saying that the aspect of a verb indicates how its action or status apply to the subject or situation. For instance, here are examples of a present tense verb with 5 different aspects. So 5 different angles. Let's tell you. So I eat. I am in the habit of eating. So you know that it's a habitual aspect that we are looking at. I am am eating. I am in the process of eating. As you see me, I am eating. So progressive aspect. Now, we are saying that I feel compelled to eat. Probably at a point of what? At a gun point. You don't eat that thing, you are pulling the trigger, so you are compelled to eat. Maybe you did something, you are having criminal, and one of your exercises is to eat a live scorpion. Okay, one of the torturing, yes. So at that point, she will. You know, she will. So at that point, I am compelled to eat. There's nothing nice about a scorpion itself. Don't think about life. It's not simple. Sometimes, if you get those people, those that could be very cool and all that, that's it. You don't really kill you. You see, me, I feel those who are not even too wicked and man, who will do to make you do the ordinary things. This is ordinary. Cheer and so. So, I have eaten. So, there's a fourth one that we are going to really rely on. My present status is a consequence of what previous eating. As you see me, what I feel right now is because I've eaten. Previously I've eaten, so I've eaten. So my current, as you see me, so I have eaten previously. So what you see now is as a result of what happened. It's something, okay, I'm not saying directly. Like indirectly, it has something to do with this antecedent thing that I told you that it is relevant to attack it to the it. So as you see me, what you see now is because of what I did it. If you see me closing up, maybe it's because of I didn't really get enough sleep last night. So it's same thing. So we focus on that. And then the last one is I have been eating. Me, I have been eating. Normally, the Oboshi people normally like to say, me, I have been eating. So it's more like that one is consequential and progressive. It pulls the two together. Okay. And they say that my present status is a consequence of previous eating, and I am still eating. So previously, I have been doing that, and even now, yes, I am. Yes. So that is basically it. So the next person, read it. What is the box?
Not just in the negatives, but around.
What do you think is the answer? Okay, if yours is C, who else object? Is there anyone who object? Who has? Okay. Yes, you said he. Justin, did you call me? I had said, yes. Anyone? Are you okay with the C? Alright, so let me still add something little to it. So, for me, what I see is more like a current issue using relevant history. It's a current issue using what? Relevant history. Is that not it? So that's why I said that irrespective of the angle you are using, let me pick from the antecedent and we can get it right. But it is English and it's more like fact. To be there to take, no matter the angle you use. Okay. Alright, so I said we are going to zone in more on the fourth. That is consequential. So this one is more like things that you already know. So I'm going to let the next person read it. I need all of you to pay attention to this reading. Please read it as loud as you can, and all of you to pay attention to the essay under that. More like, and I'll just make a comment on that. We proceed. So not the explanation. I'm talking about the one under the consequential. Who's the next?